All right, it is time for another Planets as People video. Today is Uranus. So I did, as I have before, sketch it out in advance. I just am not super comfortable sketching in front of the camera. I don't know what it is. I just am not, I don't know. I just do not do my best work when I'm sketching on camera. But anyway, I am not coloring it in this sketchbook. I will use this light box and I'm going to transfer it onto this Express It blending card, which is really, really smooth because I'm going to color it with my Copic markers. So anyway, I will also be using my pink Prismacolor Col-Erase colored pencil to do some really light pink lines before I ink. So anyway, let's get started. So here we are, started with the light box. I have to say, like I said, I don't really enjoy sketching on camera, and I don't really know why. I think I have a little performance anxiety, but I have to say that switching to not necessarily sketching on camera, but just kind of doing the tracing and stuff has really helped me be more comfortable in the things that I create. And I've really been enjoying this planet series thus far. I already do have the rest of the planets sketched out, which is Neptune. I am counting Pluto as well. Is that it? I can't remember. Anyway, but I have those done and I am very, very excited about it. For this design of the character, I don't know what I was thinking. It was more like, so Uranus, as you can see down in the corner there, I have a picture. Uranus is a very plain colored planet. It virtually is one solid color, and that is just a little boring. And so I was trying to think about how I could bring more dimension to this. So obviously I added quite a few embellishments because that's kind of been the name of the game. I've been drawing them as characters, but really they're more like goddess-like figures, but I've never specifically said that. The goal was to be very ethereal, human in shape, but not necessarily human. But so with the dress then, I don't know why, but just with it being so plain, I was just thinking very rigid, and then I added a lot of seams and things in there, so that way I could use, the idea was to use different colors of blue, so I don't know, it was just a way to bring in some more dimension to the character. So there's the front panel with the arrow lines, and that's supposed to kind of mimic the little faint stripes that you see on there as well. And I thought with her being so rigid in the dress and the stance, I wanted her hair to be kind of big and crazy and a big expanse of blue. And so that's kind of where why I picked what I did for the sketch wise. After I am done with the light box, this is my kitty Phoebe. She is the sweetest little thing, and she just really, really needed attention to this day. It was so funny and so sweet, and I did not have the heart to move her or cut any of it out. Anyway, so after I took it off the light box, I kind of took some time to pet the cat and then also kind of clean up some of the areas that didn't come through very clear, while also adding in some more lines for the hair, because I kind of just wing the designs for the hair anyway, so I kind of did most of that then not on the light box. And then I ink with a Micron 01 Fineliner, and Microns are some of my favorites. And after that is done, I do go back and I use the original sketch as kind of a gigantic thumbnail to test out all of the colors. So here I am laying out all these different shades of blue. The lightest blue color had me started with that first color there. I did stray away from the kind of bluish green. There is some of that in here, but I just didn't have that many like super light blue green colors. So then I wanted, this is such a pale planet, I wanted her skin to be like the palest skin tone I had, and so I had to find my palest pink as well. And I did want to, I think she's probably one of the ones I did not stick to the original color scheme of the planet as much, with the fact that I do use a lot of this darker muted blue over a lighter, more saturated blue. And in order to also bring in some detail, I guess, I decided to go with a bit of a gradient, because the whole planet is kind of just a gradation between light and darker blues. So, and here is where I start to bring in a bit of that tealer tone, because I had realized, like, when I picked these blues, I loved them, and then I was like, well, oh shit, I didn't have any teal, and the whole planet was more teal than I thought it was more lighter blue. And so I go back in, so that's where I decided to incorporate it there in the bottom. But I knew that center panel, like all of the other dresses, I have done a piece of the bodice, specifically the center, to be more of like a replica of what the planet looks like. So the planet surface is very, very plain, so it's just kind of a plain colored bodice. And I started getting a little lazy, because I was like, I'm spending too much time here on the thumbnail of the colors and not enough time on the actual coloring. So then I move on, and I move over to the like finished piece of on this fancy paper. This is Express It blending card. It's so smooth, it's kind of ridiculous. Sometimes I'm like, I can't believe I'm using it and I should save it. But I got so much of it because I bought it in a pack of like 100. So I have a lot of paper and I hardly ever use it, actually. It's kind of how I roll with everything. But I start with the skin as always. It's kind of one of those things where I start with it and then I go back in and I kind of fix it later. So when you start a drawing and you have nothing else there, like your values are almost usually too light, because the only other value on the paper is white. So then everything's a little light. So then I do go back in and darken some areas later. But that is, like I said, later. And there Phoebe is watching birds and bugs and stuff out the window, so her little tail just gets so twitchy then, and she was getting so annoyed that I was touching it when she was the one in my way. I had been there at my desk for hours already, and when I go to start this video is when she needed to be there. She could not let me do this by myself. So for the skin, I started with the base skin color, and then I went in with a darker purple for the shadows, and then I blended that out with more of a richer orange. It just makes it look more natural and brings some color back to her face. And then I blended that even further to smooth out the edges with the original skin tone again. And then I go in with that nice blue like I did in the drawing, and I leave some space gaps and stuff just so that way I can kind of fill in highlights and things as I go. So I did want to take some time to talk about some new products that I'm going to be having in my shop. If you aren't familiar with me, hi, my name is Abigail, and I am a small business owner, and I run the shop abigailmariearts on Etsy. I also make content where one of the places you're seeing me now here on YouTube. I also post TikToks, Instagrams, all that fun stuff. I am an artist. I primarily draw, and I turn my drawings into stickers. I do sticker sheets, individual stickers. Now they're new. I have so many new designs up right now, as well as very, very soon bookmarks. So I love to read, and I love making bookmarks. It's been something that for birthdays and Christmas, I am constantly designing everybody I know bookmarks and stuff. I'm sure all the readers in my family are probably very sick of having bookmarks, but they're so fun. I usually hand draw them to be something particular for them. One of my friends, she's really into fashion, and she made this dress, and so I drew that dress on a bookmark and gave it to her, and she loved it. It was so great. But I have these beautiful fall designs that will be in my shop when this video goes up. those should hopefully be in the shop, if not very, very soon. And that will be Friday, September 15th. I have fall bookmarks. They have pumpkins and beautiful mums and all sorts of like wonderful floral arrangements. And the shipping in my shop is I have a 2 to 3 day. Well, no, excuse me. I have a 1 to 3 day processing time, and I send it via USPS as letter mail, so it should only take less than a week to get to your house as well. So there's still plenty of time to buy that for fall. They will be there all year round, and there will be more to come in the winter as well. So if you're hearing this at a later date, fear not, there will still be bookmarks there, and they will be just as cute, if not cuter, because I love the holidays as well. I have tons of fun fall and Halloween sticker sheets. They are some of my best sellers and my absolute favorites to make. I just have to do that little plug as well. And if you want to see how I make them, behind the scenes, all that kind of fun stuff, that is on my TikTok, which everything I am talking about is linked below. So keep that in mind. Next, I also make jewelry. I do that mostly in person. I do craft fairs and vendor fairs and all that good stuff, but I am adding some Halloween vampire themed jewelry to my shop this month, and I'm very, very excited about it. Again, everything will have a 1 to 3 day business day processing time, as well as a less than a week shipping time, obviously, unless something happens, because I love the USPS, but I also hate the USPS. They lose lots of packages, so annoying, but it is what it is. I think that's a fairly common thing, but I'm very, very excited about that. I love doing that. I also have some of my items for consignment up in, it's called the Waverly Market. That's the town that I live in. It is a little marketplace that supports small businesses by letting them have a space, even though they don't have a storefront, to come bring their stuff to sell to the community. It's fantastic, and I've already sold some stuff there, and that is so fun. I'm going to talk about the artwork a little more. So here I am, just kind of finishing doing the base coating, coloring on the hair. I love, it's so basic, but I love a gradient hair. Don't let anybody fool you into thinking that gradient hair or like, I don't know, whatever is like tacky or overdone. Yeah, who cares? People still do it in real life anyway, so what's it to you? I love it. If you love it, if it looks great, who cares? So I did a gradient hair on her. I also think it kind of went nice to kind of like put some shadows around her head. It kind of like pushes the hair back and brings the head forward, and I kind of like that. And also, Uranus is so light, so who cares? Whatever, it is what it is. And I am going with that darker, oh my gosh, I almost said brown, that darker blue, adding in some more dimensions, and that's the purple I was using earlier. It's like, I think it's like blue or purple hyacinth or something, I don't know, something of that nature. And I am adding in some shadows and stuff, and just some light shading. Usually with these, like, she's not sitting in any kind of environment, so I kind of just do some basic shading, because otherwise it can look really, really flat. So, and I decided the color of her jewelry would be silver. I just felt that she, you know, the blue and the silver look really great, and it's very, very cool toned, so I thought like a warm gold would be very, very out of place. Maybe if it were dark, like a navy. Gold would look fantastic with a navy. And here I'm using a soft violet, even darker than the hyacinth one, to even push the shadows even more. I was just really feeling like the colors were blending in too much for me, like especially around the bodice and the hair, and it was just making everything feel very like busy. So I was trying to use the shadows to help push the hair back and like bring the body forward. And I did not erase the pink before I started coloring, because I kind of like it peeking out, but there's just so much of it like from the hair that I was just trying to get rid of some of it. I was able to get rid of most of it. You can hardly see that bit on camera, so it's not really that big of a deal, but it is what it is. And contrary to popular belief, well, I mean, at least for me, I didn't know this, that, for the longest time I guess, that Uranus actually has some rings. They're very, very faint. I tried to, I included them in the little outline I did, but like you can see them, they're dark cross, or that actually might be the shadows of them. They're tiny, tiny, very thin. There's only a few of them, I think, and you can see the shadows of them crossing the bottom of Uranus right then. So, as with almost all of my Copic pieces, I go in with my Prismacolor colored pencils and I do a little bit more shading, especially with this pretty violet. I don't know, something about the way it like sits on top of the shadows. It's just pretty. I love it. I use it all the time. And I used this color called Nectar to like on her lips a little bit and around her face area. And then I go and I add in some more details and blending with a blue colored pencil as well, because I wanted those rings to cross in front of her, but they were so thin that I didn't need to like outline them like I did when I did Saturn. Like, because Saturn's rings are just so all-encompassing, like that is the thing you notice about Saturn, whereas that's not necessarily the thing you notice about Uranus. So yeah, I didn't need it to be that drastic, so I just did line art as usual, but I do go in with the colored pencil and then the white gel pen to at the very least break up the lines of the ink work, so that way you can tell that these very, very light, very, very faint rings are circling her and not just behind her in the background, or even an accident. They're not an accident, but like I said, unlike Saturn, I did not want to bring as much attention to them as Saturn did, because Uranus is not an attention whore. No, I'm joking. They just needed to be more subtle. But here I am, so like using a couple different white gel pens. The first one was a Uniball Signo, and the next one is a Jelly Roll gel pen. I like them both. Sometimes the Uniballs hate going over colored pencil, so trying to go over the blue colored pencil of the rings was really making it angry, and when you make it angry it stops working for the rest of the time. So I had to give up on it and bust out the old trusty Jelly Rolls. And Phoebe is back. She never left. She just went and sat in the windowsill instead and then came back now that it's time to be done. She wants to pretend she was working that whole time. She's a freeloader. That is what it is. Anyway, as we approach the end of the video, I just want to say how much I appreciate you watching. If you've watched this far, I am planning on finishing the Planet series before I go on for anything else. I have drug it out for far too long. I actually just checked the date on my other one. November of last year. Are you serious? There's no way it's been that long. That's ridiculous. So I'm planning on wrapping this up soon, so the next planet will be next week. So I'm very, very excited about that. Also because I have it started to be planned already, so it makes for an easier work week for me. So if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe. It means the absolute world to me. If the idea of seeing any cool stickers, sticker sheets, bookmarks, or even coloring pages, I have coloring pages too on my Etsy. Click all the links below, find one that suits your fancy. I don't care, they will all pretty much end up leading you to the same place. I have a website as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and here is Uranus. I have a couple clips to show you some nice close-ups, so I hope that you have a fantastic day. Bye.